Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thanks again for tuning in to the next episode. In the last episode, we implemented our first navigation via our nav graph here with some nifty little animations and whatnot, and I forgot to commit. So here we are again, at the beginning of the episode, committing what we did in the previous episode. I will try to do this the right way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just commit a little message navigating from our home fragment to attraction detail fragment. All right, so we'll go ahead and take that. And then we're just going to spruce up this UI here. It's pretty bad. It's just, a holder at this point. But we're going to go ahead and update this UI to be a better version of the view holder. This is probably good enough for now. Just wanted to kind of show, I don't know, a little something somewhere with like a header image kind of makes sense. And then the description and stuff like that. A few things I just want to call out here. Image view is pretty standard. I think I just copy and pasted it from the view holder. The background over here, you might have saw me doing it over here or in the snippet of editing. Inside the drawable folder, created a new resource, called it background details title. Just want to go over a little bit of what's happening in here. We've defined our file to be a shape, and we've defined that shape to be a rectangle. And then we have applied a gradient attribute to that rectangle with an angle 0, meaning that it's just going to go left to right. Real quick, if you change that to 90 or something, you can see how it changes, literally the gradient of the, let's see, 45 or something like that, right? You can see how it changes the gradient, how does that look? Yeah, you're not going to see it much. Anyway, and then start color and end color. There is also, I think, a middle or, yeah, a center color. So you could make that transition, I don't know, super funky if you wanted to. Yeah, it doesn't look good, but obviously you'd end up doing like a gray or something like that. Where is purple 200, teal 200? Yeah, okay, so we don't really have anything that's going to fit that, but you can do a center color as well and then make it like a 3-color gradient. And I think there's also different types. Yeah, you could set the actual type to linear, radial, or sweep. Yeah, so you can flow around with it, see different things, look it up on the internet and see how things change and stuff like that, or different examples. And then also there's a corners attribute where you can round the corners. I actually ended up commenting it out and not doing it because I just thought, I mean, you could see how the corner is rounded there. Maybe instead of 8, if we did like 4, does that make life any better? Yeah, I don't mind that. Material design calls for like these little rounded edges on basically like all of their views, the buttons or card views and stuff like that. So kind of just wanted to stick with that theme. 8 was probably too much for my liking, so this isn't bad. We'll leave it as is. So we can kind of just have this, it's a nifty way to provide like a little overlay on top of a particular image, which is kind of cool, especially if you're going to try drawing text on it. So otherwise, pretty straightforward here um, as far as how things are set up there. Just a little bit of text color, padding, and you can get it to be that big. Our description here, just kind of plopped it under there, set it to be match parent, put it underneath our image view, so it's going to always be there. And then in the tools text, there's a whole lot of stuff that exists for like where this sample image is coming from or where this text is coming from. And so you can see it here in like the sample directory here, sample lorem ipsum kind of thing, and then random. So I guess it just picks a random whatever those are, like weird sentences. I don't know if they actually make sense or what their meaning is, but lorem ipsum's classic. And then we have the months of visit kind of thing down here. It's just going to be more information display, and then a number of facts text view. We'll clean this up. I don't really know exactly where this is going to go or how this is going to look in the final stages, but for now it works. And then the idea here is to make this one actually clickable. So then they can navigate to another page and then maybe read the different facts that exist there or something like that. Or we can make them in like a scrolling list here or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. So we'll play around with things and figure it out. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, the background, there's the selectable item background, and then there's the selectable item background borderless, and that allows that little ripple that we had to draw outside of the view's bounds. It doesn't make sense to on the other one, but you'll see kind of what I mean by that when we get this up and running here. So I'm just going to close some things here, going to head over to the detail fragment, and obviously we don't have the button anymore, but we can get our attraction, which is of type attraction. Again, we'll just do the by lazy, and we will call it this doesn't extend our base fragment, so we can get our attractions dot find, where the it.id equals SafeArgs attraction ID. And we're going to force that to be non-null because we know that, or at least in this case, we should be able to find that attraction in the list because we came from a screen that had that entire list of attractions. So this should be safe, but this find operation literally just loops through your list, checks, runs this predicate, they call it, on each individual item. So it's saying, you know, does this thing's ID equal this, which it was passed in from the previous screen, and if so, then return it. And then the reason it's nullable is obviously because it doesn't, you could try to find something that doesn't exist in the list, and therefore it would be null. But like I said before, we know that we're actually going to have this element in the list, so no big deal there, but something to be aware of. And then let's just say, well, a lot of this exists in the view holder, so we're just going to go ahead and pull that out real quick to make our lives easier. Binding title text view, Picasso, load the attraction URL into the header image, months to visit is months to visit, and then binding number of facts text view, text equals so this is a little hack you can do. It gives you a little bit of a warning because you should probably be doing the resource strip with placeholders, which we'll actually do just to go over that and so that I can show you. But you can actually inline things in Kotlin, and in this case, when you need to reference, like, you know, a function or do something more than just reference a single variable, you need to put them in these curly brackets after this $sign. But other than that, it's all good to go. And then we will just say number of facts text view set on click listener, and we need to do something at that point. So I think we actually have the description as well. And at that point we're good. That little duplicating of the line is if you just have your cursor on a particular line and do Command D, that will duplicate the line. Command X will actually cut that line. And then if you had an entire section highlighted and did Command D, it'll duplicate everything that's highlighted. So a couple IDE tricks along the way. Okay, so we're here. Let's do the Plitvice one. And look at that. We now have something that looks like a screen. I mean, this like legitimately could be a screen that you would see in an app, right? I'm kind of not liking this the rounded edges there, to be honest, so I'm going to comment these out. I'll leave it in there so that when you pull it down from GitHub, you still have everything in there and a good example and whatnot. But yeah, that just looks cleaner. Those few pixels went away, and now you can kind of see it. So I guess because this name is a little bit longer, it kind of starts to get into the area of the screen that's where the gradient starts to go to transparent, meaning that the image view is going to start to bleed through. But let's say something like Solly, right? I mean, again, it depends on your image. It depends what colors are down here and whatnot. So when you do stuff like this, drawing over images, especially if they're coming from the network, you got to be a little careful with it. But for our example, it's fine. It'll probably look great for Zagreb. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, this is shaping up to be a travel app. There's no two ways around it, right? That's what we're kind of going for. This one might look nice. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then we have here our different, descriptions just to give, some information at that moment. And then if we were to click on one of these, you can actually see what the difference is there between background borderless and just background. You could see that clearly the image or the view itself is just this rectangle. And then we have absolutely no problem here with, you could just see that it draws outside, and it kind of gives it that little bubble feel, which is kind of nice. And then obviously I think if you were to see that here, like the entire screen would turn into like a bubble, so it would just look a little weird. But yeah, you can see everything's kind of just flowing at this point. Things are just moving from screen to screen here. You got different data on screen. You got things that are just falling in place here. So I'm happy with the way this is turning out. Hopefully this little trick here, it kind of goes a long way. Instead of having the title underneath or something like that, it provides a different feel to it. And maybe from a branding perspective, we could also do attribute color primary. Now the fun in that is, although it might look a little weird here with the split and stuff like that, or sorry, with the purple. Yeah, okay, so that looks horrible. So let's say, yeah, we're just gonna leave it at white, just because it makes the most sense with black. But point is that if we were to change the branding from this purple theme to some other color, which we'll get into at some point, this would change for us. We don't have to update it after the fact. But it just looks a little tough. It's not that great on the black, so we just need to we'll just need to fix that at some later date. So not a big problem there, but cool. I am happy with how this is turning out. We will just continue on in the next episode, building out some more of this, maybe even moving here, or we have a little bit more data here, like for instance, the location that we haven't used yet. We can maybe implement a little bit of a favorite system. Just seems like a pretty common thing to do, and then we'll be all good. So I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in.